This week on FRCmedia News, nearly 4 years after taking over, the St. Anne's Preservation Society is making headway renovating the historic church. We get a preview of the city budget for the coming year, and the Chamber of Commerce hosts its next job fair next Thursday. All this and more coming up. It's Thursday, April 13th, 2023. This is FRCmedia News. I'm Keith Tebow. The Diocese of Fall River closed St. Anne's Parish in 2019 and leased the building to the St. Anne's Preservation Society with the hopes of renovating the historic church. And in the last 4 years, the organization has made marked progress toward its goal.
We've done renovations on the shrine, and we continue to raise money to fix the roof, and we're getting pretty close. We maybe have enough money to fix half the roof come late summer or early fall. But there's some chapels that we have in the shrine that have been redone. St. Joseph's has been redone. Santa Cristo has been redone, and we're going to be doing converting the St. Jude Chapel to an adoration chapel coming soon, so people will be able to come in and do adoration during the day.
Mr. Garvin says the cost of renovating the structure has changed since the organization took over the project.
We estimate we could fix the church up and get it operational for about $7.5 million versus the $13 million. That number's gone up a little bit because of, contractors are more expensive and things like that. A building like this will never be built in Fall River again, and the historical committee has been very cooperative, and the community development people have also been very helpful. And we've had somebody leave us half their estate, and that's helped our situation also.
Although the main church remains closed until repairs can be done, the initial assessment of the damage was overstated.
We've had drone people, we've had contractors come in and really take a good look at the roof. When they initially did it, the architect just estimated how much it would be to fix. But we know where the water's coming in now, and we know what it takes to fix it. And one of the things we found is the roof is actually in pretty good shape. It's really the valleys that are a problem. And the good news is when they do the valleys, they take the slates off and they're going to reseal it, and then they're going to put the slates back, so they're not. So it's actually a lot cheaper. But also the water runoff is going into the walls, and the walls in certain areas have to be repointed and sealed, because the water goes through the water will go through the walls, because it hasn't been done in many years. So once that happens, we should be able to open once that whole situation is stabilized.
The shrine sees between 30 and 50 patrons a day and upwards of 70 during holidays and monthly healing masses. Mr. Garvin says the shrine sees enough activity to pay its bills.
Today we have a full gift shop, Immaculate Conception gift shop, so if you need any particular items or anything like that, please come down and visit us. And when we started, we said, boy, we have a lease, how are we going to pay for the heat and the heat and the utilities and the insurance? And but the candle sales really help. We have big ones for $5 and small ones for $1. And we've been able to do it. And then the other thing that happened even before we opened, Me Some Restaurant ran a fundraiser for us, and they gave us $10,000 before we even opened our doors. So we had a little bit of seed money to get that going. But today, we've raised a lot of money. Nobody gets paid. It's all volunteers. There's no employees, and we've done very well.
As part of its ongoing capital campaign, the Preservation Society has received large and small donations, some targeted to specific renovations within the shrine. Mr. Govin says the organization's board of directors brings targeted expertise to the project.
We have these people come in, people with experience, project managers, mechanical engineers are on our board, a contractor. So that makes up the building committee. We have a couple of liturgical people who were people that went to seminary but didn't become priests. So they know all the rules and how to, talk to the bishop and things like that much better than I could. Then we have financial people, myself and somebody else. And then we have some people who are social workers. And so it's really been, the board in our brochure we talk about that was a miracle in itself, that all these people came together.
Throughout this process, Mr. Govin says the diocese remains supportive.
Every time we've asked the bishop for help or a mass or something liturgical, he's been very accommodating. When we first started out, we didn't have the Blessed Sacrament in the shrine. Now we have the Blessed Sacrament, and people have asked him to be able to do some masses. We don't do masses during the weekends because we don't want to compete with some of the parishes. But we've had, the Franconian Society has a mass a couple times a year and things like that. So he's been very, very accommodating and very, very helpful to us.
The organization continues to seek individual and corporate donations, and Mr. Govin remains hopeful that by the end of its current lease in 2029, a large portion of the renovation work will be complete. At
first, we were nervous, because we had the certain bills that had to get paid. But, as time has evolved, it seems to be easier people see our success, and it seems to be easier to raise money. We're very optimistic that, in 10 years, it'll be continual improvement as we go along.
Beginning Monday, April 24th, the City of Fall River will begin the spring flushing of its water system.
What we're doing is cleaning out any sediment or debris within the mains. So we're raising the velocity of the water and bringing that dirty water out of the fire hydrant within the area. Make sure that the water quality that feeds to your house, the mains don't get built up with sediment hanging on the bottom of those mains. That could cause chronic rusty water, as the city experienced years ago within the past. But now that all of our mains are cement lined, this helps bring any debris that's floating around in those mains out of it so that it doesn't end up coming into your house.
Mr. Ferland says the city conducts the flushing operation twice a year, once in the spring and once in the fall. The program begins at the water plant on Stonehaven Road and runs along Bedford Street before branching out north and south across the city.
There's about 2,500 hydrants throughout the city, and we rotate them annually. We do about 600 to 900 on a semi-annual flushing. So within a couple of years, we get to all the hydrants throughout the city. But what we do, we pull up with a truck. We have a special attachment on the back of our truck. Attach that to the fire hydrant. We're able to turn the fire hydrant on almost full blast at that point to really pick up the velocity of the water within that main. Once we run that for a little while, at least 10 minutes or until the water starts to come clear, then we're able to turn the hydrant back down to what we call a three-finger flow. That's just a term that we use. All of our staff know it. It's a very small flow, makes the water come out and just about hit the curb line a foot in front of the hydrant. And we leave that water running for the rest of that day till the end of the shift. That way, if there's any other dirty water within that line that may have gotten stirred up during this water system flushing, it's able to come out of that hydrant and not go into the homes.
During years of drought, the city does not take part in the flushing program, but when it does, all the water that flows is part of the maintenance of the system.
It's not really wasting water, it's all accounted for water. So we have an electronic database where we keep full records of the hydrants that's turned on, the amount of time that it's turned on, and we have our whole entire system calibrated so we know roughly the flow that's coming out of each hydrant per minute. So we're able to totally capture that volume of water and submit that when we do our yearly evaluation to DEP. So again, it's not wasted water, it's something that's necessary for maintenance of our system.
The flushing program will take place weekdays until June 3rd. Residents are not expected to lose any water service during the time of flushing.
We're trying to do them about 8 o'clock in the morning to 3 o'clock in the afternoon, shut the hydrants off. So we're trying to get it in the morning where we're doing that hard flush, which may mix some things up in the main. There may be some minor discoloration of people, of coming into their house if we're flushing in their area. If you do get that minor discoloration, we always recommend just run your cold water until clear water comes out. Once that happens, then you should be able to continue normal operations within your house. But again, during this time, there may be discoloration, and that'd be during the daytime periods.
At a joint meeting of the City Council and School Committee Tuesday night, members of the Coogan administration provided a first look at the city's FY 2024 budget. Although not yet finalized, the city is planning to send the council a budget of over $350 million. An 8% increase over FY 2023. City Director of Financial Services Bridget Allman took time to spotlight the challenges and opportunities facing the administration this coming fiscal year.
We know that there's a lot of financial pressures, and we take that into account. We know there's high inflation and that there's 2.5% on the tax levy. We also know that we want to maintain our current city services. We want to enhance the services to better represent and serve the taxpayers. And we know that we're realigning priorities as we go through, and maybe funds are provided to one department this year, and the next year we have to, we know that another department, it's their turn to make an improvement. Just because, again, the funds are only go so far. We also are putting an emphasis on that we are customer service provider. Like, we are providing a customer service experience, and all of our employees, we want to represent the city. And that comes right down from the top. The city assets, we want to maintain what we have. We don't want to see, we invest in dollars and then just let it fall apart. So we're also looking at our borrowing needs versus our operating budget, and short-term and long-term borrowing, and not having to rely on as much borrowing. We don't want to continue to do that. We want to build up stability.
Ms. Allman also outlined the priorities in formulating this year's budget.
So the priorities in this budget are having a government that's responsive to our residents and businesses. We intend to fund education at 100% of net school spending. We want public safety, providing a city that is safe to live, learn, work, and play, as well as providing relief to the taxpayers and only implementing half of the debt exclusion. Continuing to develop long-term strategies that provide sustainability, and we're investing in infrastructure to keep pace with growth and improve services. As with everyone, public and private, having a stable workforce, retaining employees, training, reducing turnover, and maintaining continuity is important. And it's hard to attract employees in every aspect, in every department. We're also evaluating historical processes for improvement opportunities to implement efficiencies, and we're eliminating waste in time and materials. We've been, along with the Munis upgrade, we've been making some other technological upgrades that'll help us with having reduced staffing just to get things.
State education officials visited Bristol Community College last week to hear from students and staff about the importance of making college education more affordable. Secretary of Education Patrick Tutwiler and Commissioner of Higher Education Noe Ortega co-hosted a forum at Bristol seeking testimony on the impact of the state's current Success Fund, which awards grants to community colleges to offer support to members of vulnerable populations, and the proposed Mass Reconnect program that will cover the cost of a community college education for all state residents 25 and older. Commissioner Ortega said both programs allow equitable participation in higher education for all Bay State residents.
When you couple the investments in Mass Reconnect with the ideas of what's being done with the Success Fund, it acknowledges that an investment in our students alone is not enough. You've got to invest in our institutions to make sure that the wraparound services that I know each of you truly need are provided to you, right? If we learned one thing from the pandemic as we exit out there, is that the provision of learning is not the only thing that our institutions of higher education offer. They offer life-sustaining services that allow you to succeed and fulfill that promise. And it's important that we figure out a way to invest to meet all the things tied to mental health, well-being, transportation, all the insecurities like food, housing, generational investments like childcare, et cetera, to make sure that everyone has what they need to be successful and ultimately be good contributors in the Commonwealth.
Bristol student Maria Mendoza Carbonell wants to become a social worker and can only return to college with the help of Bristol's Success Fund coaches.
As an older student, it was a really difficult decision to return to school. It actually started during the pandemic in 2021. I made the decision that time was just passing me by and I needed to start. So I signed up, and it was just an overwhelming experience in general, just signing up for school after having been in the workforce for so long. And then I got this email from the Student Success Center. It was just an extra motivator. Like I'm a mom, my daughter's gonna be 16, and working full time and just running a house, like you kind of fall off. It ends up not being a priority. So having Millie or other staff from the Success Center just check in, just like, how's class going? What do you have going on? It just reminds me that this is important and that someone else, aside from my family and everyone, wants me to succeed.
Bristol graduate Maggie Hudson currently attends Bryant University and credits the support of Bristol faculty and staff for helping her balance schoolwork with her family obligations.
And then I came back in 2019 and I did not look back. I really, really needed to finish my degree. I was extremely motivated. I did not care about any of the barriers that were in front of me, and there were many. I mean, managing 6 children, managing a household, different schedules, everything was just crazy. No matter what those challenges were, Bristol was super, super amazing about, we have this challenge, what's the solution? We're not gonna get stuck on the challenge. Let's move forward. What is the solution? Let's come together, find a solution, and let's move forward. And that's what I really, really loved and appreciate about Bristol. This is my foundation. This is my home. And without Bristol, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Isha Boyd graduated from Bristol last year and is currently attending Bridgewater State University with an eye toward one day becoming a lawyer. She says she's grateful for her time and support at Bristol, and if the Mass Reconnect program were to become a reality, the stress of affording a college education would be lessened for many more state residents.
Going to school was instrumental for me because I was afraid. I was afraid I didn't know anything about how do you do the paperwork, who do you call, just that initial thing. But taking it further than that, I have 2 daughters, 14 and 15. They're straight A students. One just got into Tabor Academy, almost full scholarship, and this baby has watched me do this. Our family was that, well, I would have supported them going to school, but it was never a requirement. It is now a requirement, and everybody knows that they're going, and it is instrumental because of modeling. People do what they see. I was a successful business person, so to tell them, hey, you gotta go to college. No, Mom, we saw you run a business. You didn't go to college. So if I wanted them to do that, I still had to do that. I had to go to college. You can't throw people away. Do you understand? I've been there. People need to be advocated for. And one thing that I love about this program is that maybe you can let inmates, we can change the criminal justice system with a program like this. Okay, you allow people to get their foot in the door while they're in trouble so that there's a foundation for them not only to continue, but to be a part of society.
Fall River Mayor Paul Coogan says the city is still moving forward on the sale of the Bank Street Armory. Last month, local developer Alan Macumber submitted the only bid on the property and is looking to create market-rate housing.
Alan Macumber is uniquely suited for that building because obviously he's got the old BCC right across the street. He owns the old post office garage on the side for parking. So he's trying to make a little campus over there would be his intent. It was obviously something we looked at to use extremely differently than his proposal, which is for 37 apartments. I mean, we did want to try to do something as a community space and renovate the front for some offices or, something that we could generate some revenue with, but it's just way off the charts as far as how much money has to go into that building. Alan has obviously the resources or the means to do it, but to take that on as a city would have been, daunting. At the same time, we have things like Lewiston Street that need work. We need to do some upgrades to our police station. We have, city parking lots that need attention, roads, sidewalks. So we have to pick our priorities.
We'll have more FRC Media News right after this.
Here are some job descriptions on the latest hot jobs list from the MassHire Fall River Career Center. Mechanical Engineering Manager, L3 Harris Technologies, located at 275 Martin Street, is looking for a full-time mechanical engineering manager to lead the company's mechanical engineering team with responsibilities for the mechanical design of underwater vehicles and associated support equipment. Job number 187-60049. Inventory Coordinator, Blount Fine Foods, located at 630 Current Road, is seeking a full-time inventory coordinator, responsible for the coordination and verification of raw material movements to and from the warehouse. Job number 187-50608. Retail Sales Associate, Sherwin-Williams Paint Store, located at 555 Pleasant Street, is looking for a full-time retail sales associate, responsible for supporting the sales efforts at the paint store, servicing wholesale and retail customers. Job number 187-57533. Car Wash Attendant, Hertz Car Rental, located at 1672 Pleasant Street, is looking for a full-time car wash attendant. For more information, call 508-235-0472. The state of Massachusetts has an immediate need for the following full and part-time positions. Inpatient Registered Nurse, job number 187-60076. Attorney in Charge, job number 187-57261. For more information about these or other positions, visit MassHire JobQuest at jobquest.dcs.eol.mass.gov or call the MassHire Fall River Career Center at 508-730-5000.
Welcome back. During the break, we heard of some of the latest job opportunities within our region. Well, nearly 80 employers will be on hand next Thursday at White's of Westport for the One SouthCoast Chamber's next job fair. The event begins at 9 a.m. and ends at 2 p.m. One SouthCoast Chamber CEO Michael O'Sullivan says local employers are still in need of filling open positions, even with fewer people looking for work.
It's not quite as bad as it was maybe even 6 months or a year ago, is what we're hearing from folks. It used to be that if you advertise for a position, you might get 100, 200 applications. Now you're not getting that many, but you might still be getting 20, 25. And what we're hearing is that the 20 or 25 still may not necessarily be exactly what people are looking for. But within that smaller number, there's still good quality in terms of what the expectations and what the job actually is. We've got a great variety of jobs. We've got large employers, small employers, employers with 50. We've got financial services, insurance, manufacturing, the food industry. So it's a great variety of employers.
Mr. O'Sullivan says there's a wide variety of business sectors with job openings.
The seasonal jobs are tough. The trades are really difficult. The trades are electricians, plumbers, carpenters, folks like that. They're really struggling to find good quality people that will stay. Hospitality, as you always get to the summer, hospitality always really gets busy. Healthcare is really difficult as well. There's and in healthcare, it's every category. It's in the food production. It's in radiology. It's in nursing. It's across every piece of healthcare, and in human services, it's similar. It's the adult daycare stuff, the early childhood daycare, and all the other services. They're struggling in every category.
Here are some tips for success for those planning to attend the job fair.
They should prepare as if they're going to a job interview. They should bring resumes, definitely bring paper resumes. They should dress, professionally, but they can expect, they can expect a lot of help, and they'll get to meet some great employers. But you also have MassHire Greater New Bedford, MassHire Bristol will be there, to help get people all set up. So it'll be a great day. It'll really be a great morning over there at White's. We're looking forward to it.
We'll wrap up this edition of FRC Media News after this.
Welcome to Hot Dogs and Cool Cats. Well, we also have bunnies here for adoption. Today we have Milky Way. Milky Way is a 1-year-old bunny. He's very, very sweet. Likes to be held, as you can see, just sitting very calmly, very easy to handle. Bunnies are a 15 to 20-year commitment, so if you're thinking about a bunny, they're not too difficult to care for. They're pretty easy to care for. I think he'd do fine with kids. Of course, no dogs for a bunny. Bunnies, well, they do eat, pellets, fresh veggies. They like their lettuce, carrots, so you just give them a little at a time. They do like the Timothy hay, and they should have plenty of Timothy hay available to them. That provides extra nutrients. If you'd like to meet Milky Way, come on down to Forever Paws at 300 Linwood Street. He would love to meet you. Today we have Reno. Reno is a 2-year-old tabby male. He just got over a liver infection, but he's good now. He would do well in any home. As you can see, he's a little love bug. He just wants the attention. He would do good in any home with, children. I think he'd be fine with kids any age. He's very laid back, a very calm kitty. He just wants to lay and be comfortable with you and just snuggle up, and he's a happy boy. As you can see, he just loves the pets. I think he's fine with dogs. We bring the dogs in here to test the dogs, and he doesn't seem fazed by them at all. Again, I think if they're laid back enough, he'd be fine with them. So if you'd like to meet Reno, come on down to 300 Linwood Street, Forever Paws Animal Shelter. Give us a call at 508-677-9154, and Reno would love to meet you.
It's time for spring cleaning. The city is rolling out an updated street sweeper schedule. Beginning in April, 4 phases of street sweeping will be implemented across 12 neighborhoods. Each phase represents 1 week of each month. For example, the streets in Phase 1 will be addressed in Week 1 of every month. Curb-to-curb access is essential as drivers may make several passes. Please avoid parking during posted times on new signage in your neighborhood. Parking restrictions are just a few hours, similar to a parking ban during a snowstorm. Questions may be directed to the Department of Community Maintenance at 508-324-2584 or the Mayor's Office at 508-324-2600. A map highlighting all sectors will be posted on the city's website and social media pages. Thank you for your cooperation in keeping our city clean.
That's all for this edition of FRC Media News. Please visit our station website at frmedia.org for all the latest news and local information. FRC Media News airs Thursdays at 6 p.m. and Fridays at 5:30 p.m. For all of us at FRC Media News, I'm Keith Tebow. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next Thursday.